Welcome back, everyone. We're diving into the world of AI again, and today's focus is on Dario Amodei, someone who is seriously shaking things up.
Right.
We found this super interesting essay on AIVIP.org, and it really digs into not just like his achievements, but, how he's tackling some of the biggest questions about AI ethics.
Yeah, and Modi's path it's really unusual. He didn't come from that typical, like, Silicon Valley,
Right.
startup world.
Right.
He actually came from the world of theoretical physics.
Whoa,
He
interesting.
even studied with, like, some big names, David Gross, who's a Nobel laureate, and Lisa Randall, a really prominent physicist.
So, like, going from trying to figure out the universe to building AI,
It's a big leap.
that's a big leap. Yeah.
Yeah, but, it's fascinating how his physics background, I think, really prepared him for AI.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, did any skills or ways of thinking transfer over?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, physics, especially the theoretical kind, it's all about building these, like, mathematical models
Right.
to represent, complex systems, making predictions, and then, like, refining those models as you get new data.
Right, right.
And that's basically what AI is all about. It's like,
Yeah.
Algorithms, neural networks.
It's like he went from one set of crazy complex systems, like the laws of physics,
Exactly.
to another, the human mind.
Yeah.
That's wild. So after physics, he jumps into AI, lands at Google Brain. What kind of stuff did he do there? What were some of his biggest contributions?
Oh, Google Brain was, like, where Amodei really started shining. He worked with some, like, giants in the field, Jeff Dean, Andrew Ng.
Right.
And he just dove headfirst into deep learning and reinforcement learning.
Okay.
Like, those are, the foundation of modern AI.
Okay, yeah.
And I think his physics background actually gave him this, like, unique perspective.
Like he could see things others couldn't.
Yeah, like he was approaching the problems from a different angle.
That's really cool. So it sounds like he was already doing big things at Google Brain, but then he moves on to OpenAI.
Yeah.
Why the switch? What happened there?
Well, OpenAI was a huge turning point. That's where he leads the development of the famous GPT language models.
Oh, right. The ones that can like write poems and code and even like translate languages, right?
Exactly. And they do it so fluently. It's remarkable.
The GPT models, everyone's talking about them. But for those of us who don't speak AI, how do they actually work?
So imagine you're playing this game where you have to guess the next word in a sentence.
Okay.
And you have like this huge vocabulary and you're basing your guess on all the words that came before.
Right, right.
That's basically what GPT models do, but on a massive scale.
Okay.
They've been trained on just mountains of text data.
Okay.
So they've learned these statistical relationships between words and phrases, and that's how they can create such realistic,
Wow.
coherent text.
So it's not just like mimicking. They're actually...
Like, that's the debate.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, is it just pattern matching?
Yeah.
Or is there some basic understanding of meaning going on?
Right, right.
It's a hot topic in the AI community, but no matter what, Amodei's work on GPT was groundbreaking.
Yeah.
It really showed what AI could do, but it also raised some serious questions.
About the ethics of it all.
Exactly. Like, when you have AI that can create human quality text, you have to think about the potential downsides.
Right, right. What could go wrong?
Yeah. And Amodei was one of the first to really voice those concerns. He saw that even though these systems were amazing, they could be misused.
Right.
And that could lead to some really bad consequences. And this realization, this worry, it's what led him to co-found Anthropic.
So Anthropic, that's where Amodei really takes all this worry about AI safety and puts it into action.
Yeah.
Like what's the big deal with Anthropic? What are they trying to do that's different from all the other AI companies out there?
I think with Anthropic, you see a real shift in priorities. Like, a lot of AI companies are all about pushing the limits, seeing what's possible.
Right.
But Anthropic, it's about building AI that's aligned with human values. AI that we can actually trust.
So it's not just about building the most powerful AI, it's about building the most responsible AI.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. And to do that, Anthropic focuses on two main things. They're developing tools to make AI more interpretable, and they're building in these really robust safety mechanisms.
Okay, the interpretability thing, that seems super important. Like, if you don't know how an AI is making decisions, How can you trust it to make the right ones?
Right.
Can you give us an example of what those interpretability tools actually look like?
Sure. So one really cool example is this tool they've developed called activation atlases. Imagine you have an AI that's trained to recognize images and pictures, right?
Okay.
This tool lets researchers actually visualize the features that the AI is learning and focusing on when it says, this is a cat. And what's really interesting is that these features, a lot of times they just look like abstract patterns to us.
Huh.
But to the AI, they mean something.
It's like we can see what the AI is thinking.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
By visualizing these features, researchers can start to understand the AI's thought process.
Oh, well,
Maybe identify biases, even debug errors. It's a big step towards making AI more transparent and accountable.
that's amazing. So it sounds like Amodei and Anthropic, they're taking a much more cautious approach to AI development, right?
Mm-hmm.
Putting safety and ethics first. But doesn't that mean progress is slower?
That's a good question. And it's something that Amodei definitely acknowledges. But for him, it's not about stopping progress. It's about making sure that progress is responsible, aligned with human values.
Yeah.
He believes that in the long run, being thoughtful and careful will actually lead to better, more sustainable AI.
That makes sense.
Oh.
So beyond this focus on interpretability and safety, what else worries Amodei about the ethics of AI?
One thing he's really vocal about is bias in AI systems. He's pointed out that if you train AI on biased data, you're just going to perpetuate those biases in the AI's decisions.
Right. It's like garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly. Think about like facial recognition systems that are less accurate for people of color,
Mm-hmm.
or hiring algorithms that discriminate against women.
Right, right.
These are real problems caused by biased AI.
Yeah, those are serious issues.
Yeah.
So how do we fix that? How do we make sure AI isn't biased? Can you even do that?
It's a tough challenge, but Amodei thinks we need to approach it from multiple angles.
Okay.
One key thing is transparency, being able to understand how these systems are making decisions.
Right.
And another really important factor is diversity in the teams that are building AI.
That makes sense. You need different perspectives to catch those biases.
Exactly. And for Amodei, it's not just about bias. It's about fairness and accountability. He believes that AI systems should treat everyone fairly no matter who they are.
Yeah.
And if an AI system causes harm, there needs to be a way to figure out who's responsible and how to fix the situation.
That's really important. It's not just about the technology itself. It's about the impact it has on people.
Right. AI is going to affect all of us, and we need to think about the ethical side of things.
So these are big questions that go way beyond just the technical stuff. How do you even regulate something as complex and fast-moving as AI?
That's something Amodei has really wrestled with. He thinks global cooperation is absolutely essential. We need to bring together governments, researchers, and industry leaders to create guidelines for responsible AI development.
Right, like some kind of international rules of the road for AI.
Yeah, and he also thinks we need to develop universal ethical standards, almost like a code of conduct for AI.
It's like trying to write a rule book for a game that's still being invented.
Yeah.
A game that keeps changing all the time.
Exactly, and that's what makes regulating AI so hard. But Amodei says we can't ignore it. We need to start having these conversations now before it's too late.
So we've talked about Amodei's journey, his work on AI safety, and all his concerns about the ethics of it all. But what about the future? What does he see happening with AI, and what does it mean for us?
Well, Amodei is cautiously optimistic about the future of AI. He thinks it's going to keep advancing really quickly and that it could help us solve some of the world's biggest problems.
Like climate change and disease.
Exactly. But he's also very aware of the potential dangers.
Right. It's like this double-edged sword.
Yeah, it really is. And Amodei keeps saying that we need to make the right choices now to make sure AI is used for good.
Right.
He warns about the risks of AI being misused, whether intentionally or accidentally.
Yeah.
And he's especially worried about the long-term implications of creating AI that's smarter than humans.
Like the whole superintelligence thing? That sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie.
I know it might seem like science fiction, but Amodei takes it very seriously. He says we need to start thinking now about how to make sure AI systems stay aligned with human values.
Right.
How to make sure they stay under our control even as they become more and more powerful.
That's some heavy stuff to think about. It sounds like Amodei is telling us to really think carefully about the choices we make today, because those choices will shape the future of AI and ultimately the future of humanity.
That's exactly right. The decisions we make now about AI development and regulation, they're going to have a huge impact on our world. We have a responsibility to get it right.
It's amazing to think about all the things Amodei has done.
Yeah, he's done so much.
From physics to Google Brain to OpenAI and now Anthropic, all with this focus on making AI safe and responsible.
It really shows you how much he cares about getting this right.
Yeah, like it's not just about building cool tech for him, it's about the bigger picture.
Right. And one of the things that keeps coming up in his work is this idea of making AI systems that are transparent and understandable, not just powerful.
Yeah, he's really into this whole AI interpretability thing, right? Like being able to see inside the black box and figure out how these systems are making decisions.
Exactly. And that's key if we're going to trust these systems as they get more and more powerful.
Totally. Can you give us some examples of those interpretability tools Amodei's worked on?
Well, we talked about activation atlases earlier. Those are great for visualizing the features a neural network is focusing on.
Right, right.
But he's also been involved in research on things like feature visualization and attention maps.
Okay, so some kind of technical.
Yeah.
What exactly are those, and how do they help us understand AI better?
So imagine you have an AI model trained to identify objects in pictures, right?
Okay.
Feature visualization techniques let us see what parts of the image the AI is zeroing in on when it decides, say, that's a cat.
So we can literally see what the AI is seeing.
In a way, yeah. It's like we get to peek into how the AI perceives the world.
Wow, that's wild.
And then there are attention maps. Those show us which parts of the input data the AI is paying the most attention to. Like, if it's reading a text document, the attention map would highlight the words or phrases that are most important for its understanding.
So we can follow the AI's thought process, see where it's focusing.
Exactly. And that kind of transparency is super important if we want to build trust in these AI systems.
Totally. So transparency is huge, but it's not the only thing, right? Amodei is also worried about the real-world impact of AI, especially when it comes to regulation and governance.
Oh, absolutely. He's been a big advocate for getting out ahead of this and regulating AI carefully to prevent potential problems.
We hear a lot about AI regulation these days. What are some of Amodei's ideas about how to do it right?
Well, he believes we need a global approach. We need countries to work together to create guidelines and standards for AI development, kind of like how we do for nuclear weapons or climate change.
Yeah, it makes sense. AI isn't limited by borders.
Exactly. And that's why he says our response needs to be global, too. He also thinks it's crucial to include a wide range of people in these discussions, not just AI experts, but also policymakers, ethicists, and everyday folks.
Right, because ultimately AI is going to affect all of us.
It is.
Well, this deep dive into Dario Amodei's world has been fascinating. He's done so much, from groundbreaking work at OpenAI and Anthropic to really pushing for responsible AI. He's definitely a leader in the AI world.
He really is. His story shows us just how powerful AI can be, but also how important it is to use it responsibly.
It really makes you think about the choices we're making today and how they'll shape the future of AI.
Definitely.
So for our listeners who want to learn more about Amodei, where should they start?
That essay on AIVIPS.org that we've been talking about is a great place to begin. It gives you a really good overview of his work and ideas.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive into Dario Amodei and the future of AI.
My pleasure.
I hope this has inspired everyone to think more about these crucial issues as AI keeps evolving. It's been an amazing conversation.
It has. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll see you next time.